So I was starting to get upset, and then that was starting to upset you.
Yeah.
So then we have another problem.
Now we have two problems. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the Smart Couple Podcast. My name is Jayson Gaddis. I'm your host. And this, my friends, is episode 100. 100. Pretty damn cool. So I owe a big, heartfelt thank you to you right now, the listener, to join us for 100 episodes. We made it. It's pretty cool. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the people involved here, my team, and it's amazing. So in celebration of our 100th episode, I'm going to announce a little contest for the Smart Couple listener. All right. So stay tuned to that. I will announce part of it at the beginning here and then the rest of it at the end. If you're new, welcome. This podcast is for you if you're into growth and development, you want to work on your relationship. If you want to put some logs on the fire of your relationship and you want to be with someone who also puts some fuel on the fire, then this is the place to learn about how to do that. All right. Think about it this way. Here's a quick story. When I worked for a wilderness therapy program, I worked for several, but one of them, the kids, when they got on the program and their parents dumped them off, or they were kidnapped to dumped off at this, in the middle of nowhere in Utah in the desert, we would take them. We would receive the kid. And the first thing the kid had to learn is how to make a fire. And if he didn't learn how to make a fire, he didn't eat hot food. Now, this is Utah in the middle of the desert, but here's the catch. It was freezing cold. It was often 32 degrees Fahrenheit every day or below that. So snow everywhere, winter camping for months. These kids would be out there. And my job was to help them out, help them learn how to build a fire, and they had to build a fire not with like a match or a lighter, with a bow drill that they made themselves from trees out in the wilderness, right? And from a shoelace on their shoe. And you had to learn how to start a fire. And if you didn't learn how to start a fire, you didn't eat hot food. You had to eat cold food. And cold food in cold weather isn't very pleasant. So obviously the kids were incentivized here to get their shit together and learn how to make a fire. It was an awesome program. These kids learned quick. They're like, oh, okay, I got to learn how to make a fire. Of course, every now and then you had the super defiant kid that was like, fuck that. I'm not eating hot food. I could care less. Fuck all y'all. And he would usually last like 2 weeks. And then he'd be like, okay, fine. So why am I bringing that up? Because both of you have to learn how to make a fire. I mean, you've been in a relationship before, have you? Where one person is building the fire and cooking the food every day, and the other person's sitting on their ass, hoping someone's going to do it for them. It's not satisfying. It doesn't work. It doesn't work out. So you both need to earn that heat, and you do that by both putting in effort. So that's what it takes. If one of you is building a fire and the other one isn't, guys, I don't recommend that, okay? I say that over and over again. All right, in this episode, I brought my wife, Ellen, back. We're going to talk about 3 really quick steps you can take to repair instantly in your relationship when there's a little rupture, big or small, okay? At a later episode, we'll cover the other half of this episode, which was about the macro repair. In this episode, we get into the micro repair. It's the immediate one you want to learn how to do in the moment, on the fly, right? And Ellen, really, what I love about her is she brought this to our relationship because I think I was skipping over this step. And it's been a really cool development in our connection. And it's just added another tool to our tool belt. All right, the good news is I have 3 prizes for you that are amazing if you play this fun contest. And all the details of the contest are going to be at the end of this episode. But I'll quickly mention the prizes, okay? First prize is you can win my Indestructible Partnerships course. It's a 30-day course on how to create and maintain an indestructible partnership. Second prize is a 30-minute laser coaching session with me. And third prize is a free 2 months in the Relationship School Roots community, all right? So stay tuned to the very end for details on how to play this contest. And you've also got to be a member of the Smart Couple Facebook community, okay? So details coming up soon. All right, let's get to this episode. Here's my wife, Ellen, on how to repair quickly. Hi, welcome back to the show, my wife, Ellen. What's up, Ellen?
Hi, Jason. It's good to be here.
Yeah, good to see you. In our house, on a screen. It's really weird, I know. We can spare the listener some details right now. I'm naked. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. All right. Honey, focus up here. So today, guys, we are going to talk about the repair, which is an essential part of fighting well and coming back into connection after some distance. And we all know, as I say on the podcast all the time, you got to learn how to fight because fighting is just inevitable in a partnership. So if you learn how to fight well, you're in good shape. And one of the elements that we don't talk a lot about, but we are going to today, which is repairing well. Ellen, will you say a little bit about like what the hell we're talking about when I say repairing well? What does that mean?
Well, repairing the connection, repairing our connection with each other after, a small rupture or a big one.
Yeah. So we're just cleaning up the mess we made.
Yeah.
And we make messes all the time. Aren't the stats like, didn't you read somewhere it's like 30% of the time?
Yeah. I don't know where this was, but there was some statistic that we attune well to each other 30% of the time. We rupture that attunement 30% of the time, and then we are repairing it 30% of the time. So it's pretty even distribution there around being connected, breaking that connection, and then rebuilding it. And I think that's a statistic based on caregivers and their children, just that cycle that you're in 24/7 with figuring out what they need and finding them, and then kind of, losing track of what they need and coming back into it. Like it's this, years of doing that. And it's true as adults as well.
Yeah. And so if you're out there and you're rupturing a lot, let's say, or you're feeling disconnected from your partner a lot, I think that statistic is just saying you're normal, it's okay. And I would say in my own life here with you and our kids that sometimes we can go weeks feeling really connected and there's not a lot of ruptures going on, maybe little micro ruptures here and there. Same with the kids. We just find our flow, right?
Yeah.
And then there'll be a big disconnection, a big rupture of some kind, or a bunch of little ones, and we'll be back in kind of those kind of statistics where it's in and out, up and down, all over the place. Would you say that's true, or how would you say it?
Yeah. I think that is true. I mean, I'm wondering over time, maybe we come out the same statistically,
Right.
But I do feel like there's periods of time where things feel really easeful and we're well connected, and we aren't feeling ruptures repeatedly. And then there are phases where we're like missing each other a lot. Like both of us are sensitive, or one of us is going through something. And so like everything's just kind of more touchy, and we're having to kind of slow everything down and be a lot more sensitive to each other.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like in your life, you, the listener, you might be married to someone or with someone that's coming home stressed every day for months, and that's impacting the connection. There's kind of like a chronic rupture going on. There can also be that happening, and we still need to repair from that, because there's, right. A lot of people live in that kind of tension for years. And what we're suggesting here with the repair is you don't need to. There's actually some things you can do.
Yeah, there's so much. Yeah. So,
Let's talk about what we're noticing recently in our relationship about what I'm going to call it a micro repair and a macro repair. So let's just to be kind of simplistic about it. I think we have done the macro repair pretty well, which we'll talk about what that is in a minute. The micro repair, I don't feel like I've done so well, and I'm getting better at, thanks to you. So what is the micro repair?
Well, what we're calling that here is that ability and capacity to notice when your partner has a reaction that surprises you, maybe to something you said, where they seem hurt or defended, or that you see them shut down. You see something change in them that you weren't anticipating. And we are talking about noticing that, attending to that like immediate emotional reaction, kind of dropping the content and immediately noticing and being sensitive and caring that something's going on with your partner that maybe you didn't fully anticipate.
Yeah, so this is a micro repair, is the ability to sense and feel and see your partner go down in some way. And it's kind of like they're bleeding and you want to stop that bleeding as soon as you can.
Yeah, and it's not even so abstract as sensing and feeling, although that can be helpful. But, really you can see it in someone's face. You can see it in their eyes, maybe their body language. It's pretty obvious. And I think, the longer we know each other, the more we're at risk of kind of glossing over these things, not noticing them as poignantly as we might.
Yeah, we get used to it.
Yeah. And I think what we would say here is just that absolutely it's important to not just get used to somebody's shut down expression or
their edgy tone or
tone of voice,
the sarcasm.
Yeah, to slow down and address that. Yeah. Because you care about them and because you want to be in good connection with them.
Yeah, great. So what are some, and let me just kind of set that against the macro repair, which is more of like the bleeding has stopped, but you stop the bleeding with what we are calling the micro repair, and you've got to do a bigger thing around trying to understand each other. And maybe you sit down and have an hour-long conversation later. But the micro repair is dealing with it in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the part about us that we were realizing recently, just that we haven't been doing that well. It doesn't happen that often. But when it does happen, I think we're learning kind of a new way of attending to each other there.
All right. So in the micro repair, where we're trying to stop the bleeding, where remember it's immediate, we're trying to provide immediate relief to our partner. It's like first aid. There's 3 really basic steps we want you to remember. Ellen, do you want to cover those?
Yeah. So as soon as you notice that your partner's having a reaction to something you said or did, maybe you see it in their face, their eyes, their voice tone, slow down. Slow down, take a breath.
Great. Step 1, slow down, take a breath.
And then the very next thing you do is to say something about what you noticed. So something that would be caring, show that you care, that they're having a reaction or there was some impact there. And if you really know your partner well, which we all should, you could also say something that's reassuring to them about your intention. Because if you know them well, you know what they might be reacting to. It isn't a big mystery about what might be having them get quiet or angry or feel hurt. So you should be able to know what the reassuring message would be at that point, if it's needed.
Yeah, and we'll go over a quick example here in a sec.
Yeah. And then the third step is as soon as you notice yourself calming down and your partner calming down, that means you've done something well. You're attending to the connection. You're repairing whatever it was that just happened that is starting to set you in a direction that isn't going to lead you to a good place.
Yeah. The metaphor for some reason I'm thinking of right now is there's a bridge and it's cracking a little bit and it's starting to buckle. And the micro repair is you come in and you say the right thing so that the bridge stays intact. Mm-hmm. And if you've done well, it's like the bridge stays intact and it kind of like reforms as a strong bridge together. And if you don't go well, it kind of starts to crumble and bricks start to fall into the water and like it's all like crumbling. Yeah. And it can go poorly here.
Yeah. Well, let's say something about, you said say the right thing. And I think that can, there's something to that, but there's also, it's not like some magical thing you have to figure out either. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Yeah. I guess what I meant there is, if I know you well, Ellen, I'm going to say the thing that calms you down. And that's to me saying the right thing, but it is, I need to couch that in like disclaimer there. It's not about right and wrong. It's just about, if like Ellen was saying earlier, if you know your partner well, you know the phrase or the words that are going to help them calm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, for example, can I share an example from us?
Yes. Yes.
So, for example, recently we had a little rupture. I'm staring out the window telling her some important news, and I'm kind of in this disconnected, kind of shut down place. I was not great. I can't remember what was happening, but I was not looking her in the eyes, and I was telling her some intense stuff. And she's like, whoa, can you like look at me? Because I wasn't tracking her. I wasn't tracking you, and you had a reaction, right?
Yeah.
Had I been looking at you, I would have seen you, seen the rupture and seen you go down, and I didn't even feel it because I was halfway checked out. So then I turned towards you. I'm like, what, honey, what's going on? And then I see your face and I'm like, oh, this is serious. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think I probably went into my typical thing of maybe defending myself or like telling you like, what's wrong with you? Or in my mind, I don't know.
You're not, I wouldn't say that's your typical thing, but okay. There was some like, whoa, what's okay, sure. We were trying to figure it out. We were kind of hobbling along there for a little bit. And something else started to happen. So I was starting to get upset, and then that was starting to upset you. Yeah. So then we have another problem.
Now we have two problems.
Yes.
Because I just created two problems here. I could have put the fire out. But what we got to, fast forwarding a little bit, was you needed to hear a statement from me that would have let you know, that would have given you the message that I care about you. And that's all I could have said, right? Is, honey, looked you in the eyes, I care about you right now.
Yeah, anything that would have conveyed that you cared would have been helpful.
Because she needs to hear, that's that. One of her statements that can help soothe her. So if I know my wife well, I know that's a statement out of many that could calm her.
Yeah, and it has to come with the genuine experience of caring about me, you know? So
I have to feel it.
That's where like saying the right thing can really miss, because it's not followed by a real feeling or genuine support behind it from the person.
Yeah. And so what did you have to say to me?
Oh,
because I started to go down.
So when I start to get upset, what you need to hear is, I'm not trying to shut you out.
Yeah.
I don't want to shut you out. And
because that my perception is she is trying to shut me out.
Yeah.
And her perception of me is I don't care about her.
Yeah.
So we need to speak to that fear or that old injury, that old experience, and say and reassure our partner, hey, honey, I'm not trying to shut you out here. I care about you. I'm with you. I'm just triggered. I'm in my own stuff here.
Yeah. Yeah. So that can take a little while to know your partner well enough to know what are the things that they react to. What are those messages, those kind of hurts I've had in relationship that predate this relationship big time, way before Jayson ever came along. But he's going to ignite some of that inadvertently occasionally, and
Yeah.
be able to support me through that, actually. So those little moments, I think, happen. Those are the more frequent things for some couples. Definitely for us, it's the littler moments of missing each other.
Yeah, let me quickly review the micro. Remember, the micro is you're stopping the bleeding in the kitchen or in the car, wherever you are together, and you notice a rupture. Remember, Ellen said 3 steps here. We take a breath is step 1, slow down. Step 2 is say a reassuring statement that you know would help them calm. And then step 3 is to notice that if you're both calming down, the bridge isn't collapsing before you, that you're on the right track. Okay, so those 3 steps. And then, of course, this speaks to be proactive, have this conversation after you listen to the podcast of, honey, what's the reassuring thing I could say to you when you're in it? And here's your clue. It has to do with what you would have wanted to hear when you were 5 years old that your parent didn't say to you. Something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, once the safety has been reestablished, once the bridge hasn't collapsed and you guys are there together, okay, cool, we made it through this first little wave, then you might want to move on later that night to the macro repair. Because it might be that there's a bigger resentment going on, there's a bigger hurt going on, there's a bigger disconnect happening about something. Finances, about sex, about, one of you has been sarcastic and the other person doesn't like it. There might be a bigger issue going on. And this is when you want to deal with the more macro repair.
Mm-hmm.
And the macro repair we'll talk about in a few episodes. We just wanted to drill down into the micro repair for this episode. So, Ellen, anything else you want to add about the micro repair stuff?
Yeah, as we're talking about it, I'm realizing that in a way, it's not a micro repair is really a big deal, because if you can do this, and if you can reestablish connection and safety in the middle of a charged, triggered moment, that's a huge deal. That you've made major progress. So yes, these you're addressing maybe something that seems like a little blip, but I think it goes a long, long way towards creating a lot of room between you to have an upset, know that you can attend to it and get back in connection and talk about whatever you need to talk about.
Yeah, it's a really good point. This is a huge deal because it saves you so much time and energy.
Yeah.
If you go in circles and you keep missing this one,
Mm-hmm.
this is something you can do. I mean, think about you go to a car accident and there's someone that's bleeding and you're over there trying to do physical therapy on their leg and their upper neck is bleeding or something. Like, that's not how it works. You got to attend to the bleeding first so that they calm down so that you can attend to the misaligned joint or whatever.
Right.
So it really does save you. Think of it as saving you time and energy later. And it's a really refined kind of skill that requires you to be present and pay attention. But it's also, it's just what if you and I, listener, were just walking down the street and you fell down, there's a common senseness to it too, that I'm going to say, hey, it's okay, I'm right here. I'm going to try to help you calm down because I don't want you freaking out. That's probably not going to help the situation. So it's like, hey, I'm right here with you. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But I'm going to want to tailor that. What we're saying here is you want to tailor it to what your partner needs to hear.
Yeah.
Ellen and I need to hear different things.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, great. We're going to come back at another episode. In a few episodes, we'll come back and unpack the macro repair because it deserves its own episode. And that's one definitely I've taught in courses, and it's pretty essential to know how to do that one too. But this one, I think you're going to appreciate this. Your partner definitely is going to appreciate this when you start doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ellen. Thanks for joining us and sharing this with us. Thanks for helping me with this one.
Yes. Thank you. Always good to be here.
All right. Those are the 3 steps to micro repair. It's got to happen in the moment. You got to know your partner's words or phrase. Okay, so that's your action step. Find out, and if you're not in a relationship anymore, rewind the tapes in your mind and go back and find out, what would have been the thing that I could have said that would have calmed them down? And if you are talking to me about, I tried that and it didn't work, you're full of shit. You obviously didn't get it. So you need to go back and ask your partner, your former partner, someone in your life, hey, what would have been the thing that I could have said that would have helped you calm down? And hear it from them. You can't make it up. You got to hear their words. Honey, this is what works for me. It's going to be okay. I love you and I'll never leave you. I'm not trying to punish you. This isn't personal. It's my own trigger. I love you and I care about you. Okay, there's a number of different things you can say to your partner that will calm them down. So your action step is to go find out what that phrase is, right? And then, of course, implement. Actually do it, okay? Nice. Now, let's talk about the contest. Who wants to play? Who wants to have some fun here? So here's the program. Number one, you got to be a member of the community. So if you want to play, you got to be in our Facebook group, all right? It's free. There's no strings. You just come in and hang out. You can leave anytime, right? No one's holding you hostage in there. But I think a lot of people are getting a lot out of that group. And it's, again, 100% free. Okay, so the very first thing is you record a 1-minute video from your phone. Most of you have a phone with a camera on it that can push record. That's all you got to do. It's a selfie video. Set your timer for 1 minute and do not go over that. If you go over 1 minute, you'll be disqualified. We'll still receive your video and it'll still be cute and fun, so you may as well send it, but you're not going to be eligible for the contest if you go over 1 minute. If you're 1 minute and 2, does that mean I am disqualified? Yes. So re-record it until you can get it under 1 minute. And here's what you've got to record. Your name, where you're from, Jayson, Boulder, and one practical tool or tip you learned from this podcast that actually helped you in your relationship life. Okay, that's it. So my name's Jayson. I'm from Boulder, Colorado. And on episode 52, I learned about X, Y, and Z, and I applied it in my marriage. And my wife totally lit up, and it was awesome, and we had great sex afterwards. Okay, whatever your thing is, right? 1 minute. I assure you, you can get it done in 1 minute. Okay, and then here's the final step. You got to post it in the Smart Couple group. That's where we're going to view it. So you upload it into the Smart Couple group. You can do that right from your phone. And should be straightforward. A number of you, like 20 of you, competed in our last contest in the fall to win a ticket to the Relationship School's live inaugural weekend in September. And you guys rocked it out. So if you have won in the past, sorry you can't compete with us again. You can't play. But if you didn't win in the past, you are absolutely eligible to record another video. And you are playing to win one of 3 prizes. The Indestructible Partnerships course, that's 30 days long, that will change how you do a long-term partnership. It's got amazing, amazing value in it. Prize number 2, a 30-minute laser coaching session with me. And third prize is 2 free months in the Relationship School Roots community, okay, our private membership community. So we're talking hundreds of dollars of value here, and this is going to be fun. So get your contest on, get your phone on, just record a video. I know, kind of weird, uncomfortable, a little vulnerable. And let's hear some noise for people who are going to compete and play and have fun here. And we'll be cheering you on in the Smart Couple community. Okay? Okay, really stoked and grateful for your listenership here after 100 freaking episodes. Oh my goodness. That's a big deal. And this is our thank you gift to you, is to let's play a game, let's have a fun contest here, and let's go to the next level together. Okay, so here's the deal. You have just a couple of days to get your video in. You'll have until Saturday, the 25th at midnight Mountain Time to get your video in. Saturday, February 25th at midnight Mountain Time. You'll have it until then to get your 1-minute video in. And then the next 3 days, we have or so to watch those in the Smart Couple group. And if you want to play as a participant, you can just like and comment and encourage people. Just say, hey, thanks for that's so cool, your video. You can practice some of the tools. You can practice sharing impact. When I watched your video, I felt inspired. All right. So we can kind of support each other in the process. All right. So that's, and then we will announce the winner at the next episode on March 1st, our 101th episode. We'll announce the winner. Okay. All right. Very, very exciting stuff. Thanks for playing. And if you're thinking about taking your relationship to the next level and you want to apply these tools and meet up in person here with me and other amazing personal growth folks, meet my wife, come hang with us here in Colorado, then look for an announcement coming this summer about the fall live workshop for the relationship school. All right. And if you were really bummed, if you're like, oh man, I was going to come to the April weekend, no problem. Send me an email, info@jasongaddis.com, and say, hey man, I was going to come to that April weekend. I was going to be there. What's up? I will give you a consolation prize of some kind just to acknowledge you for really wanting to come. All right. And you can apply that to the fall weekend. All right. So I really appreciate you guys that wanted to come out in April. We're just not quite there yet, not quite ready. And we're going to gear up for an amazing weekend in the fall of 2017. All right. All right. Okay, everybody. Practice, lean in, go find that phrase for your partner, future partner, past partner, and we will talk very soon. And thanks again for being a listener of the Smart Couple podcast on our 100th episode. Really means a lot. Seriously, guys. Thank you.